Yeah, hello all, and welcome to another edition of the 365 FM podcast. Today, my guest is Tumasander, and we talk about the human side of CRM and business applications. For the people who may know, uh, well, the tech, but not the man, who is Tumasander outside of CRM?
Well, thank you for that introduction. Anyway, yeah, well, I do go also by the name of the CRM Keeper. The reason for that is because I once used to be quite a good goalkeeper in soccer. Not, no, yeah, so not the American football, but the European soccer. So I thought maybe I'd bring that name with me because it was a huge part of who I was a long time while outside of work. And my journey becoming an IT professional is kind of my second thing because I really wanted to become a soccer professional first and foremost.
Okay.
I just I never really got at the last level of what I needed to be 100% paid professional. But yeah, so that's kind of the reason how I chose the CRM keeper part. And also try to play it on the words because I also do keeper being a keeper as a goalkeeper, and me also always talking about CRM because I keep calling it CRM and not Dynamics because I still think it is CRM. So I'm one
Then
of the
you
few people that don't acknowledge all the new words always.
now you went from the goalkeeper to the gatekeeper.
Yeah, oh, I guess again, yeah. No, but I mean, eventually I grew up from the soccer part, and now I'm a father of two, and and a happy husband. At least if my wife is listening, I'm a super happy husband.
Is that
So,
is that something?
life has become more of a more mundane thing, and it's like yeah. So it's I don't think I'm a very exciting person anymore, but I do enjoy my tech quite a bit. And I do enjoy just hanging out with the kids, so it's kind of it's my world is quite a bit different now than what it used to be when I was a bit younger.
And, is there something you can take from the soccer to the CRM part? You have
You
learned
know what?
something?
It's a great question because I've been thinking about that. A big part of me for the soccer part as there's two things actually. So one of the main things is the aspect of winning. I really love winning. It's like I get a bit too passionate about it. That thing I've actually had quite a hard time bringing into the tech world because sometimes it's like winning in tech isn't necessarily always about giving the best effort. There are many political reasons why you may win or lose a contract, or you may win or lose a hire that you're trying for. So the winning parts is harder to control, but it's still satisfying when we win. But it's harder to control in the ways that if I train even harder, I get even stronger. I know I'll be better at something. It's kind of hard finding that path in IT. At least I find that hard. But the aspect of team, being my whole life has been being collaborating with soccer players as a team and having to deal with the different personalities. There's always a diva, there's always an introvert, there's always a really strong person, there's always a weak person, and you kind of combine these to be a winning team somehow. So I don't know if my okay. So I lead a team of a lot of Dynamics and Power Platform consultants. I don't know if they will be listening to this, but hopefully they see some parts of that spirit in ways of trying to put together people and bringing out the best in them. At least that's what I try to. I'm not saying that I'm very good at it, but I try to figure out how to get the best out of people in certain situations. So our team is good. Yeah.
Awesome. What was the moment you realized CRM was more about people than the software?
You know what? That took a long time. I started out in 2007 with Serum. So next year is my 20th anniversary with the product, which is I think is kind of cool. Um, but I remember the first years I was actually hired as a salesperson,
Mhm.
and I completely failed. I mean, I didn't sell anything, none at all. I didn't sell a single system, but I tried as much as I could because I was really focused. Like I was very eager right out of study and no college, and you push the technology. thinking the technology is going to solve all your issues. Because I can here, look at this opportunity, super cool. You have these buttons you can click on, and et cetera, et cetera. And you quickly notice that as a young person coming into a company, trying to tell them how to run the company in a better way, speaking to managers that, I've been doing this since you were in diapers. So I don't really understand why you think you can do anything. Hey, what are you bringing to the table? That's what they were asking me. At that point, I kind of, it took me many, many years. I say many, many years before I understood that the tech was actually very little part of CRM and implementation. So I would say it could easily have been between somewhere between year 5 and year 10, somewhere around then. I started to understand people more than I did the tech, and at that point, it sort of made sense because it doesn't really matter what system you're implementing. Honestly, if you it's just any system has changes, and what does that affect the person that you're giving it to? So it's like, is this a positive change, a negative change, or just like an uncertainty change? And you got to just understand how to navigate the people first, and then the tech will be good. But that is super, super hard. And I still struggle today to figure out sometimes how the people are perceiving the technology that I'm bringing to the table. And I'm not always certain that I am giving them a better day, but I hope and I try. But it is super hard because people are so different. There are so many personalities. And it's really hard sometimes to get under their skin and sort of understand, do we have a connection here? Do we see the lights in the end of the tunnel? And we want to go to that lights. Or am I still trying to sort of persuade them into this is something cool, and they're just playing along because they want me to sort of like hopefully, bring something to the table at some point. So it's one of those things. I say I'm still struggling. If I'm going to be honest, after 20 years, I'm still struggling to make sure that every single time I deliver something, we're certain that this will be a that change they understand as people in the process and how they work, and sort of not too focused on this button is super cool because when I click it, something shiny is going to appear. That's it's actually a bit hard. But yeah, it took me a long time to answer your question. Yeah.
Yeah, after this many years, how keeps you exciting about the CRM topic?
That's a good question too. Many good questions you have here. To be honest, I have my ups and downs. But I think it's just like in any type of relationship, right? If you're invested in a person, you'll have your ups where you just like super happy, you're newly in love with something, some feature came out and it's like, oh, this I'm going to push and this is going to be super cool. And eventually, as you know, Microsoft will be, they have their periods where they focus on tech and then suddenly change their, you know, uh, they change their focus quickly because something new and more important came out. So I have my ups and downs, and as I think you would compare to any type of relationship. Um, and it's like whenever they release something new, just like when the AI wave came, I've kept away from AI for quite some time because I'm kind of waiting for it to be cool. So I mean, recently it's been like I would say the recent year with everything focused on AI, it's sort of you notice the shift of not focusing too much of the core components, what I think are cool, how to really work the system. But now we start seeing that it's making sense. These AI things, so I just call them things because there's so many of them. I'm not going to name one single thing because it's going to change its name anyway in the next few years. So just yeah, the AI functionalities brought into Dynamics together with Office 365 and other tools for collaboration are now starting to make sense. And then it's like then I get the new energy because this is what I wanted to go out and talk to the world about because wow, this is actually starting to look quite cool. And again, I believe like this is the reason why I stuck to this product for almost 20 years now because it is obviously the correct choice when you want to choose a CRM system. Why would you ever want to choose anything else? Because now we have a cool platform. So yeah.
If you think you meet your 10-year-old soccer boy time, how would you describe your what's a CRM or what's your job?
I don't think I would be able to be quite honest. Because it's like at that point, he's like, if you're talking about that, being a young kid having a great time playing soccer with your friends, like, okay, one day you're just going to sit on a computer for 8 hours straight, at least. No, you don't have a recess going out. You're not going to be playing soccer, but you're going to talk to customers about implementing a software that you're going to persuade them that they need. They may or may not actually need it, but that's your job to persuade them that this is going to be really great. And it's like, well, the questions always be, but why? And I would have a really hard time telling them, well, because I don't know. I do notice it with I have small kids now, 2-year old and 4-year old. And the questions that you get from a 4-year old are really like, you do question life sometimes. Like, is what we're doing really that important? Um, it's like, well, dad, do you get to play when you're at work? I'm like, no, I don't get to play at all. Uh, but I kind of wish I did. So when I follow him to these sporting things that he does, I mean, it's very low level, just super super low level. It's in a gymnasium and they just run around all for an hour and they climb ropes or they climb something. It's like a huge part of me just like, oh, I wish that was me. But yeah, explaining those things, I don't really think I can. But it's just the same thing. I work in tech. I'm a fairly techie guy. My father has worked in tech his whole life. He's a very techie guy. I honestly don't really know what he does as of today. He's tried to explain it to me many times. I don't really understand what he does. And I should be able to because I am a tech person.
Mm.
So I'm guessing it will be probably the same issue that I will have if when my son gets a bit older, try to explain what I do. He'll just shake his head and say, well, that doesn't sound like fun. So,
I think I also have a 3-year-old daughter, and
yeah.
sometimes she asks me, and I think, "Oh, it's really simple questions, but it's also good business questions because you think a little bit about, oh, how I do it, and can I explain it? I think the marketing guys say elevator pitch.
Oh, yeah. But
And
that's
when
a
you can
good thing.
explain it
Yeah.
to a 3-year-old, then you can it also sell to non-technical people. Uh,
That's actually a very good point there. If I could explain my job to anyone at that level, let's say 3 to 5 years old, if I can actually make sense of it, then I can easily explain it to anybody. That's actually a good pitch. I didn't think of it like that before. Yeah.
when we think, I call it the old CRM days versus the modern Power Platform AI area.
Mm.
How did you see the change?
I honestly, I find it quite hard. And people think sometimes just because I'm an MVP, I know everything because I follow everything and I always have the answer for most things because this is what I do. But I honestly think this change right now is really really hard because while some companies are not embracing the AI fully, but that could also be because um, they don't know how to. I'm talking like other companies, let's say HubSpot or other competitors of Dynamics. I mean, okay, I guess they will probably say that they are embracing AI, but nothing close to what Microsoft is doing right now. Um, it's one of those things where you just like, I don't really know what this will become because one thing is for certain though, the core of how we store data, that will always be the same importance, and how we structure data, customer data. So that's like, I do believe that me as a CRM person, I am now not, because of AI, I will no longer be a person that builds too many UIs. That day might be over within a few years, and like how the application looks, the buttons are supposed to be up, left, or down, right, and stuff like that. Some of that navigation might be gone. What I do still think I will have a value in doing is building the data model and talking about again, why are we capturing this data and what are we going to do with the data? But the AI, and this is where I really do not know what's going to happen, but I do kind of see some parts of it. Microsoft seems to sort of think that we're going to just be interacting with the agents
True.
and the agents are going to perform lots of tasks. That might be the case. But I also find that very hard to sort of imagine because it's a huge trust that you have to instill into these agents. And as of right now, the agents have so much power, and you believe that. Do you really understand what I'm saying? I mean, even if I'm writing in English, do you really understand my uh, sentence? Because I say like, clean up my tasks, right? Okay, I just deleted 535 tasks. Like, that's kind of not what I meant. That kind of just meant like clear out what I need to do now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a bit concerned as of where we are right now. Things will always become a little bit better, but the prompting and just thinking like my whole life is going to be prompting more than like actually seeing and visualizing. I have a hard time picturing what's next in the CRM world. I have a very hard time. But I do understand that we will be interacting a lot with the agents. I don't doubt that. And I also see it because, again, CRM not being a technical system, more like a people first. I see the salespeople, they just glow up and smile when they can start prompting to the kid. Please do update my opportunity with this. Can you move the contacts that I have in my Outlook and match them into Dynamics? So I see them glowing up. So because of that, they have more joy in doing Monday tasks. But it doesn't mean necessarily that I think that it is the right way to go. But again, we're gonna as because this is a human-based system. We have to sort of we just have to take it as it is and try to figure out the best ways to work with that, I guess. But it is a super, super hard question. And I know everybody keeps on sometimes telling you, this is what's going to be, this is what it's going to be like. But honestly, I think we're going to end up in a sort of hybrid situation where some people, just because their minds are built that way, they are very structured. They will like to see, it's just like in working in Excel. They like to see the rows of data to be able to navigate that visually, and so the application will still be there. And some people are more, I don't know, creative in a way. They might be more the agent based people that just prompt or not actually write prompt, but they might talk. Use it as a what's the Iron Man? The Iron Man superhero. When he talks to his
Jarvis?
Jarvis. Yes, Jarvis. I think it would become honestly. I think salespeople soon will be in a Jarvis situation where they just they talk to their agent, and their agent will remind them a few things. And it's like an ongoing conversation, not typing, but actually a voice based conversation. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and it will also probably be doing a lot of the outbound calling for them, booking meetings. So their jobs will be different. But here's one thing I think I do believe: as long as there will be human beings making some decisions, I still feel the power in, let's say, closing a deal is meeting a person sometimes face to face, being able to talk to them and building trust, because AI is not going to build trust. It's just going to help us move along in a process. But as you know, maybe we will get to the closing part faster. That's great. Or this decision process, yes or no, a lot faster. That is great. So we will use our time more efficiently. But I still believe that when it comes to decisions that have financial impact, that certain things like being present with people, or at least I hope, is still going to be important. Because if we lose that part of a good handshake and an interaction with a person, then I'm certain I have no idea what I'm going to be doing at work anymore.
Yeah, I've read, I think it was Gartner, and they read that the half of the CRM projects fail. I think, especially in enterprise. Have you an idea? Because I think the technology it's so good actually.
Well, actually, I think that statistic was true 10 years ago, to be honest, and way before AI. That I've heard that same statistic almost throughout every single year. It's like everyone keeps saying that CRM projects, oh, they just fail, and it's a waste of money for many. But I mean, that's again back to the people part. It's very hard to get the whole organization invested in the reason why we're implementing structure, because your company could have been built very successfully, even though Fortune 500 companies very successfully built based off an Excel sheet or many Excel sheets, but you have very good employees. But the thing is that once you want to scale, that's where the problem comes, because when you get more people, you don't necessarily get more people at the same uh, IQ value, if that makes sense, that you had with the starters that had the original idea that were the creators of stuff. You get more people to scale, but they will not necessarily be as high value in a way employees, but they need structure. People that need structure, they need systems, and it's suddenly that's when these Excel sheets and things like that don't scale. And but once you try to implement these things, they work for a little part of the organization, but you might not have gotten it all the way up to the upper level. And I also see a lot of times where like we have had failed implementations, no doubt about it. I'm not perfect in any means, but I would say the times that we fail is the times we can't get the organization invested into what they are getting. They think they're buying a product and that they can sort of like the next week after they get the product, they can just start using it. But again, this is a transition to people using tech. And when they don't invest into that part, that's when I think we fail. But then again, that's a very hard sell because you got to tell them this is more a people thing than it is a tech investments. It's people and tech. Yeah,
Yeah, I think, change management is here the buzzword.
it is super hard. I mean, if it were easy, it would not be as if change management were easy, people wouldn't have that as their expertise. So, but that's when you really notice people that have that knowledge. It makes a huge difference in projects. My
Yeah,
gosh, it is such a big difference.
I think, a lot of people, right, they make change management, but, I think it's a really complicated topic because, yeah, you have understand tech, I think, but we also
Oh
have
yeah.
understand, how you get humans, in the yeah, so yeah, what makes, users actually want to use a system, like a CRM? So, what is your tip for this?
I actually have a bit different approaches to a few things though, because it's typically in CRM, we could say like we have sales, we have customer service, and we have marketing.
Mhm.
Those are three very different personas, extremely different. So if you were to deliver CRM with only sales, here is the challenge. Sales can work without a problem when CRM is down. All you need to do is pick up a phone and call because you have contacts in your outlet. I mean, sales can still perform quite well without a CRM system. In worst case, they'll just default over to some spreadsheet or other lists that they will just be updating, right? So in many cases, we see sales as a more of a used as a reporting tool post activity, not pre activity, but post activity. If you can get them, and this is where AI actually will start making a lot of sense for the salespeople. If AI as agents in the background will be capable of really generating a next best action.
Um,
So you can start your day knowing, oh, that's a good idea. I'll call about that. Or actually, I completely forgot to follow this up because now it's just gonna be your what do we call this assistant. It's gonna be a real assistant for you. That's gonna make salespeople see the benefit of using it and giving the system data. But I've also seen within sales, super simple things that I do almost in all of my implementation for sales. Every single time we have a win, I post a win card in the Teams sales chats with a GIF. It's a GIF with a tag of win. So it's like they get the little summary of what they just closed and a little GIF that pops up in the Teams, and everyone can like that. That little simple thing is a small motivation for them to actually punch the data into the CRM system because they love the feedback they get when they do a good job. And I think that goes back to the days of when they had the bell in the big rooms. Like when you won a sale, you would ring a bell just sort of like everyone check it out. Yeah. But it's true. It's simple mentality that drives salespeople, to sort of get an acknowledgement for good work. So those are small things I would do for sales. Here's the thing that for customer service implementations are technically harder, but people wise, it's easier. It's because they are normally more structured people and they understand that they need a system to actually answer, their emails or phone calls or every, whatever it is. But the interesting part is without that system, they cannot work almost. So
Oh,
when delivering customer service, I almost say sometimes that we are now business critical because without this, your system, your people will not work correctly. So that actually implementation turns out to be I have more success rates on customer service implementations, almost always a success. But sales is more like you have to get the people right. And here the other wild card is the marketeers, because the marketeers, they are so invested in whatever system they came from because they have, put in time, either it's HubSpot or MailChimp or God knows what type of systems. They have invested lots of time, and it takes so understanding Microsoft is hard because it brings together so many techs into one application in marketing. It's not just sending out emails, it's not just customer journeys, it's also things like booking events, managing portals with events. There's so many more things, and it goes send centers and all of these. There's so many things they bring together that it's a technically actually challenging implementation. And once it's up and running, we do have it takes a while to get them to understand the value it brings. But once they understand the holistic picture of a 360, sort of, oh wow, we're actually now in direct contact with everything sales is doing. Every single lead that we produce for marketing with lead scoring and everything is now being fed automatically to sales. Sales is doing something about it, or sales produced something, and now we have a journey activated. So they see the light because they don't have a separate application working, outside of their CRM system. They see the light eventually when they see that all data is now feeding marketeers a lot more information that they can use. But it's also one of those things that takes time. So it takes a bit of, yeah. It's not one of those from day one normally that they understand the real value, but eventually they say, "Oh, wow, this is a true 360 picture." So now we finally see why we invested in this. Yeah.
yeah, I think so from my perspective, there are also another part of important people that are the sponsors or the management. And
Mm.
I see for me is that often I see they see their CRM, but they see only management system for them. And I think, it's a reason why companies or enterprise use ERP systems. But, uh, when we look at the customer relationship part, what did you think the management, still misunderstand here?
I honestly don't think some companies I would say they don't understand much. If that was your question, you're like when they implement, I don't think they understand much, but they also don't invest much time into this.
Mm,
But that's what I think. It's all about how we sell this, because if you go to our biggest competitor, Salesforce, they're kind of a bit they normally do sales a bit different than what we do, because they go directly to the to the management, and they say these are the reports we're focusing on, and from there they start working back. Eventually, and this is also somewhat true. I'm going to say that because I mean, I'm a Microsoft dude. I'm not a Salesforce dude, but I have taken over quite a few Salesforce cases where it happened that they started out with these great presentations, like this is what we're going to create for you guys. Management is super happy about it. Then they move over back to the tech part of it, and they try to implement all the tech to match the output that the management wanted. But again, they are good at engaging management in a way that's saying this is what we can bring to the table for you guys, and therefore management is interested in investing that money.
mm,
Maybe sometimes I feel that in CRM implementations we are better at in some cases making the tech people like us, because they like the Microsoft, we understand the tech somehow, so we start building from there, and we are not good enough always, as you
mm,
say, like, getting the management on board early enough. And if they don't invest their time in understanding what they're getting, they suddenly say that, but we were expecting this. It's like, okay, but our data model doesn't really allow for that. So yeah,
and
but I agree with you. Management is another role I should have included in that, and that is actually a super vital role. Yeah.
And what did you think about the company culture? Which impact have it on, yeah, success in implementation?
It's a very good question. Um, I feel sometimes it's hard. Honestly, I would say it's hard getting CRM all the way out into the company if you don't get all the if you don't get like customer service, the sales and marketing active. It's very hard to sort of get it into their DNA because if you just end up with a solution that is, let's just say, for sales, it doesn't really happen. But if we just went for sales, normally that lives with the sales manager. If that sales manager were to just leave and another sales manager comes in, they might have a different preference. And suddenly, like, we don't even know if we're going to keep, Dynamics anymore because I have a great, history with product X or Y or Z. And then it's like, so that's a bit of a hard thing. But here's one thing I do sort of think Microsoft is. I mean, I might be a little bit critical to Microsoft at times, but one thing that is good about what they do also is that they have a platform story that is kind of more unique than more other companies. So you notice a lot of companies say, "Well, we're going to be Microsoft first because we have decided to trust Microsoft and we want our whole IT to understand that we're going Microsoft. We're not going to do Oracle, we're not going to do Salesforce, we're not going to do SAP or stuff like that." And that kind of helps the sort of culture DNA-ish type of thing because then they're going to be invested in what we have to bring to the table somehow. But I think though, if you found a company that has figured out how to solve that every single time, then you would never ever have someone leaving the platform for another solution. Um, So I
Yeah,
don't know, but maybe it's also a healthy thing, because changing sometimes isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's more like it gives you perspective. Because if you don't change your solutions eh, every now and then, maybe you will never sort of gain the understanding of what the total opportunity picture is. Because I mean, Microsoft is not the best CRM solution in the world. Neither is Salesforce. All up. They are probably good at some things that we are bad at, and we are also good at some things they're bad at.
mm,
And so understanding what's what is really hard.
I think it's also what kind of company you are. I think, yeah, I have. This was one company. It's a small company, and they are sell Dynamics
Mhm.
as solution, and then I go on their website, and they use HubSpot for yeah. So I think it's also a pricing question.
There will always be a defend. You have to defend the pricing, of course, but yeah.
But yeah, I found it really funny. So let's stay a little bit funny. What was the most ridiculous thing you ever seen stored in a CRM?
Store it in CRM? Oh my gosh. Okay, so the thing is, like, back in the good old days in on-prem, you didn't have to think about storage at all. So because basically just store whatever. That's when we started seeing what I would say was really the start of whatever was low code applications. So we're talking way back when we like before 2015 on-premise dynamic solutions. I mean, we're talking people building things. Yeah, they didn't want SharePoint, so they were actually building SharePoint within Dynamics just to have documents and metadata and every. It's like it did not make sense at all, but technically you kind of could. So it's one of those situations where it's like, fine. And the second you got to get online, it's like the first thing you do is try to move out big files from the system. Like that was the first major job we had. Move everything over to SharePoint because that's where it belongs. Um, No, but I think it's more like, I haven't seen really many well, except, storing lots of passwords in clear text, which is dumb just by an infrastructure perspective. But I don't think I've seen anything really ridiculous except technology wise. This doesn't make sense. No, I don't think I have any really funny stories about that. Are really absolutely stupid, but more than the sort of like, okay, what can happen, of course, sometimes is that if you incorrectly configure the email connection. That's one thing though. You can by accident act not accident, but if you do it really bad, you can actually have auto tracking of emails.
Mhm.
So that has happened one time. I do recall a manager of a fairly for a Norwegian fairly important company having all of his emails tracked into the CRM system, and they were open for everyone to just go in and read. So there are a few sensitive things that came out about a few employees. So of course, this is more of a unfortunate kind of thing than yeah.
Yeah, as MVP, you get all these future informations on all these events. What I don't know if you it's forbidden to speak about, but uh, what
I'll have to kill you, yeah, but
do
I can.
you see dynamics in the next, I don't know, 3 years?
Hmm. Again, I think what I can say about that, I do think that we're going to see a huge trend over to these agents, and actually not just AI being a fluff. Because I honestly, I've been very critical in many situations about AI just being fluff. I still do think it's a bit fluff.
Mm.
I do hope that Microsoft will uh, take all of the agents they have, which is probably like within Dynamics. I'm pretty sure it's like 10, 15, 20. I don't know how many they keep on making new agents all the time, and sort of saying that, what we need, there's not many. And behind the scenes, it could be many agents, but we need one main orchestration agent in the front. I've suggested that being Clippy, the good old word, Clippy. Yeah. Why don't we just call it Clippy and that's our main agent? No, but honestly, just interacting with agents, I think will become a huge thing. And this is not confirmed from Microsoft. This is just me, what I think we might see more and more. I don't think we will go into CRM as what is now a model driven app. I don't think we will see that as much. We will see a lot more interesting approaches as to smaller solutions doing smaller things, just like what Canvas app initially was supposed to be. But Canvas apps is not very easy for anyone to, so like you have to be skilled to make a good Canvas app.
Mm.
But to be able to make, let's say, a generative page or a code app, you don't really have to be skilled anymore soon, at least, because you're basically saying to AI what you want, and AI understands the rules and will perform things within the boundaries of those rules for Power Platform. So I think our applications will be hugely different.
Mm.
Some people will only be prompting to their CRM system because they can, not because the service is more efficient, but I think they think is really cool. And for the rest of the part, I think they will, it will be less model driven apps and more creative applications that work with the CRM data.
Mm.
So it will give, regards to call it, let's say, lightweight governance. I think more than ever, consultants will have to do a lot of heavy lifting work to make sure that data input is strictly regulated. So we can't just have like bad data coming in. It will like the AI will also understand that you have to provide minimum of these fields, then we can process data correctly. So there are a few of those things that I think, yeah, behind the scenes, it will be pretty boring work being done. Lots of pre-validation plugins kind of things. But for the users, the end users, I think they will have a whole new world of, I don't like this application. I'm going to make my own. And we'll be saying, sure, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's like the shit in shit out topic. But what do you think that the traditional CRM workflows, will they stay, or will it all be done in future by AI agents?
I mean, I know people want to say that, and like they said so many times in different posts, like, oh, CRM is dead. I was like, yeah, is it though? I mean, Salesforce is doing. I mean, they're outperforming Microsoft in a number of sales, right? And they still keep calling things CRM. Um, I don't understand. I mean, again, this might be me being too old now, but I don't understand. Again, if AI agents are going to do the sales process for you and actually close this deal, that means that suddenly we have AI talking to AI. What's the purpose anymore?
Would
or And then the users, are they going to be AI agents actually using a system and talking to an AI agent on customer service because they have a problem and they're together going to solve the problem? For who? For us as people or for the AI agents? So I don't I don't know. I just don't clearly see that. I still think this are like for the next many years, I think AIs will make us more efficient. It will make us more productive. Because again, not a single IT project that I have ever heard of was completed saying, "Oh, we have no more feature requests. Everything that we ever wanted has been delivered. Thank you so much. Shake hands and you leave." It is always stopped because the budget was done. And the budget was it's like you gave me, let's say, €100. I completed everything I could for €100 within
Yeah.
that time. But now when I have I can complete more within those €100 than I could before. So whatever I can do is better. But I don't think it's going to end. We always have new features, like well, something we need to do. So again, I don't foresee the Terminator whole AI world taking over for us. But hey, I mean, if that means I can go play soccer at the age of 55, just that's what I'm going to do. I woke up and played some soccer with my kid, and that's kind of work. Fine, okay, I'll be happy with that.
So I have looked a little bit into LinkedIn, and I have 4 quotes. And I will ask you, what did you think about these quotes? The first is, "CRM is not a technology project, it's a business transformation project."
I like that quote. I mean, it's like I didn't really think about it before you sort of you set the topic. I mean, right before this, you sent me the link in the LinkedIn, and you're like, "This is kind of what the approach I want to talk about, the human side of CRM business applications." You know, I don't think I recognize that enough. We sometimes get so stuck and focused on the technology part that we forget that it is exactly what you just said. I think that's a great quote. Honestly, it's
Another one is, "AI won't replace consultants. Consultants using AI will replace those who won't."
I probably to some extent. Yeah, okay, so that's typical clickbait things, but yeah, to some extent true. Just because if I don't use AI and I'm still doing JavaScripts or I'm doing plugins and I'm not using AI, I am producing so much slower than anyone else. So eventually, yeah, no.
Yeah. And here it's my favorite. It's so simple. The best CRM is the one people actually use.
True. I completely agree with that. But that's again trying to figure out those small things like what makes sales actually input data. And I think AI is going to do that for us. So we're going to see AI salespeople being more reliant on CRM system because again, AI cannot give you anything unless you have data. AI is useless without the data. And AI also needs to store that data or conclusions somewhere. And that's also the data they need to store somewhere. So I think it's going to help sales. Customer service is okay for me. And marketing, I think, if anything, if we can just simplify everything, again, maybe some agents there helping them out, orchestrating the journeys, all those things. It's right around the corner kind of stuff. I agree.
Yeah.
It's the
Uh,
one. It's
uh,
it's the one serum you use. That's a good one.
yeah. I was also thinking about what makes the people use a CRM, and is this simplicity, is it training, or is it leadership? So I was also thinking
Mm,
about it and not found the 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 right solution or idea.
yeah.
Yeah, and automation with empathy creates bad customer experience.
Ultimate. Yeah, without empathy, maybe. I'm not sure I quite understand. But could you translate that to sort of if you're just doing everything automatic, and again back to empathy part, it's the human interaction and human relation, that there still needs to be some part of people meeting in between, and that would be the empathy, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, but if that were the thing, I would say that's fair. Yeah.
And now that we jump in the fast fire round,
Okay, fire out, fire to will,
remote work or on-site?
on site.
Okay. For this
But
questions,
that's I got in context. It's because I am a person. most of my job is trying to figure out what people need and what they want. What when I figure that out, of course, being able to work remote is great, but you will never get you will never get a true understanding of a person remote. Once you're in the same room, that's when you get the true understanding of who they are and how they work.
For the next questions I have to say, I do also a conference, the M65con.net. But what's your favorite Microsoft event?
Well, that's a good question. I don't really know. I really enjoyed the MVP Summit. I think I can default to that just to say it's simple. I enjoyed sort of meeting so many eager people when I was there, so it was just really awesome. Um, but we do a few things in Scandinavia also. So yes, of course, not to be biased about certain events, but I happen to host or be a part of the hosting process of the Nordic summits. So, and we also do a hackathon, ACDC, Arctic Cloud Developer Challenge, every year. So I do have a few.
Is there one app you say you can't live without?
One app. Oh wow. Actually, it sounds strange, but I try to delete as many apps as I can because I do notice that they take away so much time. But right now, honestly, I am a sucker for Instagram and Reels. So I spend way too much time after the kids go to bed just looking at funny memes, funny reels, and just to have a blast. And me and my friends we just keep sending stupid things to each other all night. That's takes too much time.
What's for you the most overrated buzzword, actually?
Agentic AI. I don't know. I have no eyes. Uh, uh, overrated buzzword is oh my gosh. There could be so many. It just if just listening to any keynote from Microsoft, just every word they keep saying. But it's about I can't remember now. Oh, there are so many that are just so priceless in the way that they generate words that no one really has ever heard before, and they will just you know I honestly I keep forgetting. I should have had some gold here. Sorry. I'll forward you, but once we hit this, once we hang up this call, I'll be like, oh, that is exactly what I should have said.
What will you say is the most underrated feature in Dynamics?
Mm, well, it's honestly the platform itself is extremely well put together, but no one will ever really understand that. No one will really, well, the consultants will, but a customer will seldomly understand the complexity of the security model we have out of the box, the responsiveness the application brings, the um, uptime, and a model-driven app is ridiculously boring. My God, it is boring, but it just works. Things that I'd done back in way back when, and I migrated them to the cloud and everything. The same things are just working. It's just a super boring platform visually sometimes, but it just works. And that's kind of what I say. A model-driven app is always a bit underappreciated because it's never visually appealing, but it just keeps on working and working and working for so long without having to do a lot of stuff. And especially also everything that I do is typically classical workflows, even though everyone wants to do that. Power automates, classical workflows never fail. Plugins never fail. Workflows, they fail sometimes. So yeah.
Uh, so your favorite Scandinavian food? Not so streaming, but all others.
Oh, actually, well, Scandinavian food is I don't really know what Scandinavian because we have taken so many things into our cultures. We can easily say we have every Friday, every single Norwegian will do what we call the Friday tacos. And it's like we pretend it's almost like a Norwegian food, but it's like it has nothing to do with Norway. But every Friday, everybody buys tacos and we eat tacos. That's just, but I mean, I'm what you call I honestly do not care too much about the quality of food. I really just enjoy eating. So you can serve me anything, and the people that know me know this, but hey, serve me anything and I'll be super happy. So
Oh,
I'm not very picky on that.
okay. Yeah. What is one thing you hope listeners can take away from this episode?
I think honestly, it should take away the fact that the one quote you actually had there may have been the first quote that you were picking off of LinkedIn, um, about the human side of things. And this is not a technical implementation.
Mhm.
Sitting back as a new consultant and understanding that everything's technical that you will implement, and it does not matter how cool that button you have is. It is nothing about the tech there. It is all about what that button provides of value for the person that you're bringing to the table. Again, about this being a human side of technology. That's actually the way you're going to succeed with any CRM system, not Dynamics. I think that was, I really enjoyed the fact that you brought that to the table because this has been a very non technical type of discussion about CRM. And it was super, super interesting for me just to think about this because I do tend to sort of forget that it is so much more important than what we sometimes think it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, then I say thank you for your time and the record, and you have to leave. So I have a lot more questions, but yeah, the time is running.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you
I
so much
really
for
appreciate you having me here and me listening to me just yap about, you know, you obviously understand I like to talk about CRM, but yeah.
yeah. Do you swear talk about CRM, the whole CRM, and nothing about the CRM? So help you God.
Yes. Anyone that wants to listen to me about CRM, I always love to do that.
Yeah,
So
and
no, I really appreciate Rico, being on here. So
it's also a good closing. So I can say all the links and information are in the show notes. They find you, Thomas. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I yeah say goodbye.
goodbye.